Oh, yeah, 1 minute.
No, you got 55 seconds. You met Sharon, right?
No, we just did. I know.
This is Adriana. This is Ryan.
Nice to meet you.
Just double check your name tag. They move people around.
Oh, yeah? Well, we put new people at the end.
Yeah.
And they wanted to put the newbies. Yeah,
You're there, so.
Yeah, because we have 2 new people.
Yep.
Hello.
We're looking for somebody.
I got here like just in time. Yeah, I just got here a few minutes ago myself. Where did Monica go? Oh, she switched. Who? Hi. Do we get to switch chairs? Is that what you're saying? No, because we have 2 new people.
No, new people are on the ends.
On the ends. Because I'm fine with trying something new. This is weird. Like, who's it?
Okay. Yeah, she didn't email me, so. We are good.
She was so sick she couldn't make sure.
Okay.
Stephanie's not coming, or is coming?
No.
No, I just didn't
She's
hear
ill.
from her. I assume she's still sick.
This is Jolie.
Oh.
Jolie sounds like that's warming over.
All right. Commissioners, everyone ready? All right, good afternoon, everybody. I want to welcome everybody to the Thursday, February 20th, 2025 Special Planning Commission hearing. I'd like to start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Ariana, report on posting the agenda and roll call, please.
The agenda was posted on Thursday, February 13, 2025 at 5:54 p.m. Roll call. Commissioner Benson. Commissioner Bondal.
Here.
Commissioner Donhauer. Here. Commissioner Ellie. Absent. Commissioner Kushner. Here. Commissioner Leongard.
Here.
Commissioner Valdez.
Here.
And just as a reminder, if you can please turn on your mic when speaking.
Thank you, Ariana. Moving on to 4, elect chair and vice chair for 2025. Anybody would like to be chair?
I'd like to nominate you, Manny, as chair.
Thank you.
Second that.
All right, there's a motion and a second. Any discussions, questions? All right. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Benson.
Yes.
Commissioner Bundall.
Yes.
Commissioner Donhauer.
Yes.
Commissioner Kushner.
Yes.
Commissioner Leongard.
Yes.
Commissioner Valdez.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody. Vice chair. Any candidates?
You have to,
I'm brand new.
all right.
Okay.
Okay.
We nominate.
We need a motion.
Motion.
Okay. I nominate Brian. I'm sorry, I didn't.
Downhauer.
Downhauer. To be vice chair.
There's a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Benson,
Yes.
Commissioner Bondal,
Yes.
Commissioner Donhauer,
Yes.
Commissioner Kushner,
Yes.
Commissioner Leongard,
Yes.
Commissioner Valdez.
Yes.
Great. Congratulations, Brian. Welcome. All right. Moving on to public comments. Are there any comments for items not on the agenda?
There are no speakers.
All right. I'm going to move to close public comment. 6.1, consent agenda. January 16, 2025, Planning Commission meeting minutes. Commissioners, any questions, comments, concerns? I motion we accept and approve.
Technically, probably should ask for public comment. I doubt there is any, but is there any?
There are no speakers.
I withdraw my suggestion.
We do need a second, please.
Oh, yeah, I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Benson,
Yes.
Commissioner Kushner,
Yes.
Commissioner Leongard,
Yes.
Commissioner Valdez,
Yes.
Vice Chair Donhauer,
Yes.
Chair Bondal.
Yes. Thank you, everybody. Moving on to public hearing 7.1, 2 tentative map applications to subdivide approximately 6.7 acres into 42 single-family duet residential lots. Application TM 24-02 and approximately 41.36 acres into 84 single-family residential lots. Application TM 24-03 in the Glen Loma Ranch Specific Plan area. Melissa.
Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. Okay, I think this is on. Hey, well, I am here before you this evening to present the last remaining subdivisions in the Glen Loma Ranch Specific Plan area. There are 2 tentative maps that will be under consideration tonight. And just to give you a general overview, one is the Town Center Flex neighborhood, which is in the town center portion of the specific plan area. The other 3 are Canyon Creek, Rocky Knoll, and Malvasia Phase 2. And approval of these maps and the subsequent development that occurs after the approval will complete the Glen Loma portion of the specific plan area. The only portion of the specific plan area that would remain undeveloped after that would be the Olive Grove neighborhood, which the school district owns. This project did undergo an environmental review in 2005 when the specific plan was approved, and the City Council adopted the EIR on November 7th, 2005. And the EIR originally analyzed a project that consisted of 1,693 homes. Now, since that time, the number of units has been reduced to a maximum of 1,467. 1,208 of those would be developed by Glen Loma, and then the remaining portion would be allocated to the Olive Grove neighborhood for potential future development there. Because of the reduced number of units, the City Council did consider a traffic study that had been prepared to analyze the impact of reducing the units, and subsequently adopted a second addendum to the certified EIR on October 7th, 2024. And that addendum eliminated mitigation measures 36, 37, 39, 41, 43, and 44. Because the project did not reach the threshold that would trigger the need to implement those mitigation measures. And also, it was determined that mitigation 34 had been satisfied through the installed signalization. So that was a resolution adopted last October. So this evening, we're going to talk about 2 tentative maps. The first one is the Town Center tentative map. This is TM 2402. This is a 6.7 acre site. It would be subdivided into 42 single-family attached compact residential lots, and it would be developed with 42 duet units. So they would be, again, attached single-family units. The project consists of 4 private streets and also a parcel Q, which would be conveyed to the city for development of a future fire station. That fire station conveyance would be determined through certain measures that have been agreed to in the 4th operating memorandum to the Glen Loma Ranch Development Agreement. So there are certain provisions that have to be met, and once all those provisions or measures are met, then the city would be, the lot would be conveyed to the city. And that operating memorandum was approved by the City Council again on October 7, 2024. Now, there have been some questions that have come up concerning whether the town center flex site or neighborhood could be developed with all residential units, because the specific plan does talk about the intention to potentially provide a mix of residential and commercial, or potentially all residential or potentially all commercial. So the whole intent of this flex, this town center flex area, is that it would allow for flexibility in development depending upon what the market conditions were at the time of development. So the City Council, when it adopted the 4th operating memorandum in October of last year, determined that this site would not be developed with commercial uses, but that it would be developed specifically with single-family attached homes. And the City Council determined that no specific plan amendment was required to accomplish that, as the specific plan already allows for that type of development. The next map is the TM 2403, which is Rocky Knoll, Canyon Creek, and Malvasia 2. The Canyon Creek portion of this tentative map is close to West Luchessa, or comes off of West Luchessa Avenue, and this will be 40 lots. They will also be compact single-family lots. This development will include construction of a portion of the Autumn Camp Trail, and also it will complete the Luchessa West Luchessa Avenue connection. This project would have a density of about 10.26 dwelling units per net acre, and 8 of the homes will back onto Luchessa Avenue, so West Luchessa Avenue, and they would necessitate a 6-foot-high sound wall. The second portion of this tentative map is the Rocky Knoll neighborhood. This will have 21 compact single-family lots. And this will also complete construction of the Autumn Camp Trail, as well as the portion of the Santa Teresa Trail that runs through this neighborhood. This project would be 21 compact lots with a density of 10 units to the acre, and it will have 5 homes that back onto Santa Teresa Boulevard, necessitating a 6-foot-high sound wall there as well. And then the final portion of this map is Malvasia 2, which is 23 compact lots. This will also construct a portion of Santa Teresa Trail through the specific plan area. It will have a density of about 9 units to the acre, and there will be 8 lots that will back on or side on to either West Luchessa Avenue or Santa Teresa Boulevard, and there will be a 6-foot-high sound wall on those lots. So tentative maps are a little bit different in the way that the Planning Commission would make a recommendation. The Planning Commission would need to approve the tentative map unless it can make one of the following findings. So to deny a tentative map, you would need to find that the project is subject to severe flood hazard or severe inundation, that it's not consistent with the general plan, that it's not physically suitable for the type of development and the proposed density of development, that it's likely to cause substantial environmental damage or substantially and avoidably injure fish or wildlife or their habitat, that it is likely to cause serious public health problems, or that it will conflict with easements acquired by the public at large for access through or use of property within the proposed subdivisions. Staff has not been able to make any of those findings, and so our recommendation before you this evening is to determine that tentative map applications TM 2402 and TM 2403 do not require independent CEQA review beyond the EIR Addendum Number 2 adopted by the City Council on October 7, 2024, and adopt a resolution recommending that the City Council adopt a resolution approving tentative map TM 2402 subject to the findings, conditions, and mitigation measures provided in the draft resolution that is in your packet. And finally, adopt a resolution recommending that the City Council adopt a resolution approving tentative map TM 2403, subject to the findings, conditions, and mitigation measures provided in the draft of resolution that is in your packet. And I can answer any questions you have. And also, we have a representative of the applicant here this evening.
Great. Thank you, Melissa. Commissioners, any questions?
Melissa, sorry. I have two questions. On the information that we received from the Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Committee, I didn't think we had one of those anymore. I thought it was disassembled or whatever.
It is. It's an unofficial committee.
Okay, that's what they should say. Anyway, it talks about they want a couple of things in here about all-electric modal and this and that, and do you have any comments regarding their claims here?
I do. So the city does encourage provision of chargers, electric chargers, but we can't require it.
Okay.
So what the building department does is they, when developers or builders are building a home, they have them pre-wire for electric charger, and that then if the future homeowner wants to install a charger, they can. But it's not something that we can require, but we can encourage it through that measure.
Okay. And also, as far as the trails and everything, I've never seen a subdivision with more trails and everything, so I don't have any problem with what staff's recommending at all. I should announce that I do live in the Glen Loma subdivision. However, my property is more than 500 feet away from these two tentative maps. It's in the over 600 range, and so I've been advised by staff, and I've also advised the city attorney's office that I feel comfortable in voting that I don't have a conflict of interest.
Thank you, Patricia.
It's unclear to me, the recommendation item A, when you say that on the second line it says review beyond the addendum number 2. So what do you mean by review beyond? That means past this, the addendum 2 is not going to account for it?
No. What I mean is that no additional CEQA analysis is required to approve this project. The CEQA analysis we've done up to this point is sufficient for you to make a recommendation of approval if you choose to do that.
And regarding the fire station, is that possible to prioritize that first, put as a requirement until, so they can develop that? Yes, but after the fire station, go through the whole process?
I think the city attorney wants to respond.
Yeah, if I might, Commissioner, the fire station parcel is in escrow right now, and it's right about to close, in fact. Maybe Armenta knows if it has closed, but it's just about to. That we had to get a bunch of documents in and various things, but that's all been done. So there's no need really at this point to make any condition related to it. And that escrow was set up pursuant to this fourth operating memorandum that Melissa was discussing that was approved last fall. So that fire station site is just about to be transferred.
I'm not talking about the site. I'm talking about the construction itself.
Well, the construction's going to be done by the city, so there's no prioritization that you really can do at this point. They will because of the way the matter was resolved with Glen Loma, they will transfer the property. They are transferring various amounts of money also at various times, including when these maps become approved by the city council, and then the city will use that money to build the fire station.
Yes, but because of the high-risk area, high-risk fire on that area, is that something that we can wait until the city built on these lands, the fire station, so then can we put that as a condition and then those units come after?
No, I don't think you can, no.
You don't think?
No, well, you cannot, or I will say you cannot do that.
Is that something, Sharon?
If I may just add a little bit, I know the city's been actively, working on the plans for the fire station.
Regarding the bicycle parking, do you have, on the project, do you have an area for the parking?
Well, okay, so these will all be single-family homes, and so bicycle parking for single-family homes is usually contained within the garage or within the home itself. We don't require like a bike rack on an individual single-family lot.
I'm not talking about the individual lot, I'm talking about the community in general. You know, for people that wants to take a walk and, you know, park their bike or, you know, so can have like a extra, you know, area for the bike parking and...
Okay, so this is all going to be privately owned property. It'll be privately owned by either the individual homeowners or through the homeowners association. It would be privately owned and maintained. So there's no provision that would allow somebody else to walk on privately owned property and park their bike there.
I'm not talking on that area. I'm talking about like because suppose a trail is part of the project. I'm talking about on the trail, like benches, for example, those kind of like amenities. I would say, like for the public space, is that included on this plan?
It's not included on this plan. There's nothing to preclude the developer from constructing benches if that's something they choose to do. I don't think it's something we could require of them. It's not something that was part of the development agreement or part of the specific plan. And so I don't know that we could require it, but if they choose to do it, they could do that.
Can we make a condition on that so they can make sure that, you know, there is some sort of shade at some point and
As far as I know, the trails are not part of the maps, are they, Melissa?
They are, Glen Loma will be, the builder will be developing the trails along with the maps. That's what they've done all along in the specific plan area.
For example, trash cans, you know, can we can make a condition on that? That's correct, right? Because that's part of the development.
If we have a city policy that would support it, I think we can. Otherwise, I think it could be a recommendation.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, a recommendation.
I think we could recommend that to the council. I'm not sure the council will do that or not, but we could recommend it.
Yeah, okay. Like trash cans, parking, bike parking, bench, and, you know.
Yes, go ahead.
In the City Casper Park, there is a bike rack that's a bicycle, you know, like they have downtown, and there are benches there in the park area. And I know on the subdivision that's off of Santa Teresa, what's just the name of the one I'm thinking about. But even on that, there's benches and all that, but that's an established trail, you know, on the levee and stuff like that. So I don't know how you could make them do it on where there's just going to be dirt and things like that.
I don't know back then who enforced that, if it was the city, if it was on the plan already. I don't have that information.
Yeah, I don't know that either.
So we can just, if they are planning to do, then great. Yeah. If we can make as a condition, then it's just there, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I think this typically gets built in the very beginning of the planning process, and their community facilities district is set up. That actually then gets paid into by each individual homeowner. It's, you know, a separate payment. That because somebody if you put garbage or trash receptacles, somebody has to empty them, right? There's maintenance, there's upkeep. So, you know, yes, you could ask the developer to put it in, but you really have to accommate all of that, right? Whenever you put something in, who's going to maintain it? There needs to be money. There needs to be money associated. Yeah. Usually, developers, it's not an ongoing relationship where they're going to be on the hook for the next whatever how many years. So it's a city thing, and it would go through, I think, Parks and Recreation, if anything. Right?
Actually, the applicant's representative, Arminta Jensen, is here. I'd actually like to have her speak on this issue because I do believe the Homeowners Association is maintaining these trails. So,
That's because
Yeah,
it's the
it's-
homeowner association.
Yeah, the HOAs are usually like the parks that are in the middle of it, and I'm not sure about the...
Because this is part of the development, so it's part of the HOA, correct?
Were
That-
the trails required?
The trails were part of the project.
Okay. So-
And this project was unprecedented when it came through in the early 2000s as far as the number of trails and what the developers were willing to fund in the HOA. So you need to remember that these trails are open to the public, but they're owned and maintained by the residents out there.
Yeah.
And they carry the cost of it.
Yeah.
So anything you add adds to those residents' cost. And adding benches and trash collection areas in the wrong location causes a lot of issues.
But they can pick the location, you know?
And
Because that's even prevents fires, I would say, because people, they throw sick, I know they were not supposed to be smoking, but I live by the levee, and that is like, my front yard sometimes have like a few cigarette buttons, so I think it's actually on their benefit to have that done, because they don't have to pick it up trash, pick it up trash on the floor like I have to by my house, because people, they just go there and they need a place to throw the trash. So I think it's like for their own benefits, and like how, if you just split that by all those units, how much can that be, I don't think it's even significant.
I'm not here to argue for or against it. I'm just setting what is out there. I think it needs to be something that's discussed at council level. But I'm just trying to explain how this project was set up. And there are places, I think the dog park might be the other one you were thinking of, that has the benches and the trash cans, and the trails are connected to those public open space areas. So it's really up to the commission what they want to recommend to the council.
Yeah.
But just as a background, there were not individual staging areas on all these individual parks. They were meant to go into the bigger public parks and public open space areas. So.
I'm sorry, ma'am, I didn't get your name.
Oh, I'm sorry. Arminta Jensen. I'm with Ruggieri Jensen Azar, and we are the planners and engineers on this project. And I was laughing last night. My daughter is 30 years old, and I started working on this project before she was born. So it's been around a long time. So.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Melissa, I had a question. We received a public comment from somebody that was questioning why the town center flex and the retail was disregarded in this project. Could you clarify that once again so the public can also understand?
Yes. So the way the specific plan was written, this area was intentionally flexible. The developer, I think, would have liked to have constructed commercial, but I think there was an awareness even at the beginning that might not be viable. So the specific plan document states several different uses that could be developed there. It could be commercial, could be mixed use, or it could be residential, and a variety of different types of residential uses. And the developer has marketed this property, and so far there's been no interest. So the developer worked with the city on that fourth operating memorandum, which enabled the developer to convey the fire station lot to the city. And as part of that memorandum, the city council found that this area would not be developed with commercial uses, but would instead be developed specifically with attached single-family homes. And they determined that that was consistent with the specific plan, and no specific plan amendment was needed.
Thank you for that clarification. Commissioners, any further questions for Melissa? Thank you, Melissa. I'm going to open it up to public comment. Ariana, any?
We do have one speaker, Roya Cruz.
Roy, just so you know, you have 3 minutes. Thank you.
And in case anybody else wants to speak, we have some speaker cards up in the front that you can come up and fill out. Thank you.
Hi, thank you. My name is Roya Cruz. I live in the townhomes in Glen Loma, and I'm asking you to please deny the application for TM 2402 today for several reasons. First, proper notice was not given for this meeting. None of my neighbors received a notice for this meeting. I only know because I emailed a council member about this. Two, there are problems with the plan being accessible. The plan is not searchable for text, which means it's not ADA accessible, and it means it's hard for people to know about the details of the plan, as additional it being 179-page document. Additionally, it is inconsistent with the Glen Loma specific plan, which our findings did identify. Page 35 does state, as we've heard, the area is envisioned to be a mix of uses, combining commercial uses, with the final mix of uses being determined by market demand and timing of implementation. So we did hear that, there is that flexibility, but also I think that we can understand that a proportion, if we're pitching a proportion, we're selling people on this mix, one area should not be adjusted to zero. To me, it seems wrong. I know I'm a child. My daughter's a toddler, and if I told her I'm going to make you a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and I didn't give her peanut butter, or I didn't give her bread, or I didn't give her jelly, 1/3 of that was missing, then she would know something was not right. Another problem is that high-density areas have already been developed and built dependent on those commercial spaces. The plan states about the apartments and townhomes that are already built, quote, because of its proximity to the commercial and retail services within the town center, this area is expected to provide the highest residential densities within the specific plan. And this plan does not provide the specific, the highest densities. Duets are, per the plan, considered moderate housing, and so that means it does not fit its plan. Finally, the proposed application does not fit the site's plan aesthetic and community-focused vision. Page 104 states, the town center is envisioned as the civic and community hub, not only for the specific plan area, but for the southern portion of Gilroy. To me, a community hub does not sound like a fire station and duplexes. I don't foresee people from other neighborhoods coming down to spend time amongst duplexes and a fire station. So please deny this application. The developer has a history of shorting the citizens of Gilroy to save money. The developer still has not finished the lighted pedestrian crosswalk on Miller and 10th Street. There was a dispute about maintenance on the dog park for West 10th with the city. Page 11 also states that the developer would provide city parks, including bathrooms, but Castor Park has no bathrooms. That's the one park that they have developed. And most recently, there was a dispute over whether or not to build a fire station. So over 1,000 people have already bought into this area based on this plan. I know my family was very excited about this, and we've already given the developers millions of dollars agreeing to this plan, knowing that this would happen. So I would ask you to please not permit this inconsistent plan to pass. Thank you.
Thank you very much. If there are no further speakers, I'm going to go ahead and close public comment. Thank you. I have a question for staff now that it came up. The claim of no proper notice.
I think I can tell you that.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
is there some? Sure. If you'd like, I will open public comment back up. You would have to fill out a speaker card. Sorry, Melissa.
Okay. By the way, your microphones aren't on. You can't really hear you.
It's on.
It is toned down today. It's usually louder. Let's put it in my mouth.
Okay, Jeff Hyde.
All right, just for the record, I am opening public comment back up.
Thanks for doing that, by the way. I live at 1465 Windsor Place. That's the Malvasia 1 neighborhood, and I've been in touch with this body in the past regarding the proposed Malvasia 2 and the other areas around it. We were initially not in favor of the density in that area, and I know that the revised or updated tentative maps show a much reduced density and now to single-family homes. So I'm here representing a neighborhood that is in favor of that, and I just wanted to reiterate that. In addition, you brought up the idea of having trash cans and all of that. I wanted to respond to that as well. At least in our neighborhood, there really isn't a park. There's some benches along a creek, and that's fine. There are no trash cans at this point. I'm not particularly in favor of it as a landscape architect by profession. As soon as you do something like that, and granted, it makes a lot of sense. Unfortunately, it's not well maintained, and that can be an area where trash and garbage accumulates if the maintenance program is not well set. So as a homeowner and one who also funds the HOA maintenance fee, we're not getting a whole lot of maintenance right now anyway. So to add something like that, I think, would be more of a negative. And then lastly, on the commercial, and speaking with many of my neighbors, they're pleased now that it's actually going to be residential rather than commercial next to the fire department, mainly because we're not sure how successful that was going to be, how many people are going to use that kind of commercial area. Maybe I'm wrong, but if the businesses that move in are not successful, it's going to become an area of blight, in our opinion, and we're concerned that that's going to bring in unwanteds, who are just kind of hanging out in an area that's not being maintained very well. So I think that's all I had to say. So thanks for letting me speak.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I'm just going to ask one more time if there are any other public speakers. Please come up. If not, I am going to close public comment. Thank you. All right, Melissa. So back to the question of the no proper notice.
So on February 5th, one of our staff members mailed out notices to all property owners within 500 feet of the site.
And there were no other complaints of no proper notice?
No, I haven't received any complaints of people not receiving notification.
Great. Thank you.
I have one more thing, actually, Melissa. There's nothing that we can do about the complaints about the maintenance and the issues they're having with the developer, correct, as a planning commission body?
No,
Okay.
because that's not before you here this evening. You need to just consider the tentative maps that are before you.
Okay. I just wanted to confirm. Thank you.
Is the inconsistency with the plans that the developer has through the whole path of developing Glen Loma, is that enough findings to postpone or even not approve this plan today? Like, for example, the sidewalk between Miller and 10 to the fire station, all those kind of things that initially was agreed on, and eventually there was some kind of problem later on. Is that those? Are those enough?
No, they are not. The issue is whether these maps are consistent with the specific plan and the general plan. The council, as Melissa points out, has actually determined last fall they are. The staff is telling you there are no facts that would justify their not being consistent. So therefore, they are consistent with the plans, and that's the only thing in front of you. The other development of the site or maintenance of the site are other issues that are simply not in front of you with these maps. They do not relate to the findings you have to make here.
And for those to be in a high risk fire area, is that enough finding? Because I don't see any kind of, preventative plan in case if some major fire happen, something similar to what happened in LA, or even smaller, doesn't have to be that degree, but I don't see like any kind of, I see a problem with the fact that it's in a high fire zone.
Well, staff can respond to that. But
Yeah, this actually is not in a mapped high fire hazard area. It's not in a wildland urban interface area. We do apply building and fire construction methods that reduce the risk of fires, by sprinklers and non-combustible construction. That's applied to these projects just as a standard, and. But it's not in an area that is at any greater risk for wildfire destruction than than most of Gilroy. There's nothing special about this area, significant about this area that would expose it to a greater risk than anywhere else in Gilroy.
Where did you get that data from?
From the fire marshal?
That might potentially change for the wildfire hazard zones are being revised in a very significant way.
There's the potential, but
For the Bay Area, they're going to be published, they're supposed to come out February 24th.
Okay.
Okay, so it's sort of a little early, but to your concern, they're going to be widened and expanded. So for any future project, I think we will be talking about this again because it's really significant from what I've seen in other areas.
Okay.
So
Can this plan be postponed to another meeting, just so we can make sure that, because there is a resident who said, her and her neighbors didn't receive any notice, and then there is you saying that the city is saying that they sent out notice, but how do you know, it's true? Like, where is the proof for it?
I can tell you that it was mailed, and we actually have a statement from the person who mailed it, not notarizing, but verifying that it was mailed. So I can tell you it was mailed. I can't guarantee somebody received it or didn't throw it away, because that does happen sometimes.
And you have to remember, it has to be within that 500-foot
Yes,
zone buffer.
yes.
So if they're 510 feet out, they wouldn't have got the notice. So we don't know
Yeah,
exactly where
yeah.
they are. Any other questions, comments, concerns, commissioners?
If we have, my questions for the attorney, if we have to approve that with a recommendation, just reinforce, the benches, or a dog park that's split between smaller dogs and big dogs, because we had a problem with the one of the developments that the city had a lot of problems with, because the dog park was not divided between smaller dog and bigger dog. So there was multiple incidents, including with myself. I was attacked by a bigger dog when I had a little dog and I was 9 months pregnant. It happened to me, and I saw happen to other people there as well. So that's why I stopped going to the dog park. Is that a way we can put those things in and make sure that, the dog park is split between, smaller, those kind of details that kind of, can, so the city doesn't have to deal with like problems later on down the line?
Is the dog park part of these subdivisions? Or we're talking about the existing dog park?
There's a dog park that is part of Glen Loma Ranch. Let me see if I can find it on here. It's yes, it's here.
Split already
It's
between large and small dogs.
It's not part of this tentative map under consideration.
In that case, we
it's not
cannot
included.
add that as a recommendation.
Okay.
Okay.
Commissioners, if you have any further questions, please bring them to staff now. If not, I'm going to move forward to disclosure of ex parte communication. No, I see there is none. Great. I'll move on to that. Possible action. Each item does require a motion. And
Three separate motions,
Yep,
right?
three separate motions. So A, B, and C. They can't be done at the same time. So the floor is up for further discussion or motions.
I'll do the first motion.
Sorry.
Okay, Planning Commission recommends, A, determine that tentative map applications TM 2402 and TM 2403 do not require independent CEQA review beyond EIR Addendum Number 2, because none of the conditions described in CEQA Guidelines Section 15162 are present.
I second.
I'm going to do a roll call for this one as well.
Commissioner Benson?
Yes.
Commissioner Kushner?
Yes.
Commissioner Leongarn?
Yes.
Commissioner Valdez?
Yes.
Vice Chair Donhauer?
Yes.
Chair Bondal?
Yes. That passes 6-0.
Want me to continue reading?
Sure. You're more than welcome.
Okay.
Yeah, of course.
B, adopt a resolution recommending that the City Council adopt a resolution approving tentative map TM 24-02, subject to the findings, conditions, and mitigation measures provided in the draft resolution.
I will second.
Commissioner Benson?
Yes.
Commissioner Kushner?
Yes.
Commissioner Leongard?
Yes.
Commissioner Valdez?
Yes.
Vice Chair Donhauer?
Yes.
Chair Bondo?
Yes. Thank you. That was 6-0.
And because it's so much fun, let's do another one. C, adopt a resolution recommending that the City Council adopt a resolution approving tentative map TM 24-03, subject to the findings, conditions, and mitigation measures provided in the draft resolution.
Second.
Commissioner Benson?
Yes.
Commissioner Kushner?
Oh, yes.
Commissioner Leongard?
Yes.
Commissioner Valdez?
Yes.
Vice Chair Donhauer?
Yes.
Chair Bondo?
Yes. Thank you. That was 6-0 as well. And I'm moving on to 8, new business. 8.1, fiscal year 2025-2026 and fiscal year 26-27, Planning Commission work plan, training, and budget request. Sharon.
We had at the beginning of the meeting the item for public comments.
Come up, Eugene.
Yeah. It said that there was an agenda item for public comments. Do you wish to comment on something that's not on any of the agendas?
This particular one, I have another interest to talk to the mayor, and I just want to bring it up just for 35 seconds.
I think the commission would have to vote on as an order of the day to reopen public comment. So if they do that, if you'd wait just a minute, if the commission wishes to do that, they can reopen that right now.
Commissioners?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
All right.
I'm not an expert on it.
That's okay. In
No,
that case,
you're great.
We'll take your comment.
If you don't mind filling out a speaker cards.
I don't think I need to. This has to do with the Hoey Ranch project, the house there. And I'm extremely concerned about the amount of noise off the roundabout. The other night, I've given some of you copies of this, my comments, but the other night, I literally was woken up after 1:30 in the morning, the car leaving the roundabout, and I think I could hear it going almost all the way to Santa Teresa. So my concern is that you put families in an environment that's going to cause problems for them to sleep and be comfortable. And that's nighttime. And in the daytime, you have motorcycles and you've got other cars accelerating out of there with extreme noises. And that's all I really want to say.
Great.
And I have 5 documents here with some other comments that you could, they may have been already shared with you from a couple of months ago, but here's a few more. Read a few, a little deeper in my comments.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you for allowing me to time.
All right, Sharon, back to 8.1, please.
Good evening, planning commissioners and members of the community. So tonight we're looking at the next 2 years commission work plan, training and budget request. As you know, the City of Gilroy prepares a 2-year budget, and right now we're in the second year of a 2-year budget cycle. So it is time, we're starting to develop the budget for the next 2 years, which will start July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2027. And as part of the 2-year budget cycle, all the commissions, are asked to develop their work plan and also make budget requests. The Planning Commission work plan would identify tasks for the commission during the next 2 years. And staff also recommend that you include requests for training to better prepare the commissioners for the duties for the commission. As you know, we've done a lot of training the last 2 years, offsite, and also here, that's kind of being done by staff in collaboration with the city attorney's office also. So lots of training to help you, with all the duties for the commission. And once you complete this process, staff will submit your work plan and budget request through the budget process, and that will become part of the budget adoption by June this year. And I'll just kind of keep going. I might jump around the slides a little bit, but it's all in your...
Question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Is this budget could be, in case if we don't use, could be extended for training for city staff?
No, this is for commissioners.
Just specifically
yes,
for
specifically for
commissioners.
commissioners. Yes, definitely. Yeah, and we do budget separately for staff as well.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you have what we did the last time? With
Yeah, that's going to be on my
Exact
next...
number.
Oh, sorry.
next slide. Yes. Yep. So I'm going to jump back to here, but you have this in your packet too. This is the draft work plan. It looks, pretty similar to what we created 2 years ago. Development review, for example, you just, approved one project tonight, and this is, you see probably, almost every meeting, sometimes every other meeting, all the different development proposals that will come before you. And then the comprehensive zoning co-update, as you know, we sort of started that last fall. And because of the staff transition, we've reassigned some of the projects, so we're trying to focus on the projects and the applicants and customers right now. So we will circle back to the zoning co-update and the zoning map update a little later this year. Capital improvement plan, general plan consistency. 2 years ago, the council adopted a 5-year CIP plan. But during this budget cycle, there will be some updates to the CIP plan. So the Public Works Department will be working on those updates in collaboration with other departments, and they will come before you to review the CIP for conformance with the general plan. And commission and training, that's what I talked about a little bit earlier. Lots of different kinds of training, state laws, housing laws, and processes and all of that. That's been part of your work the last 2 years, and it will continue to be the following 2 years too. And here's the training and budget request. That's in your packet as well. This identifies some of the conferences and training opportunities. Similar to the last 2 years. And the first one, Planning Commissioners Academy, that's put on by the League of California Cities. We have 2 commissioners that are going, and then we typically have between 1 to 3 commissioners, because I looked at our history of over the last 8 years. It typically ranges between that. And then regional planning commissioner training by Institute for Local Government and other type of bodies such as the Silicon Valley Bike Summit. Those come up from time to time, and we always share those opportunities with the planning commissioners. And some of those are free also, so there's a lot of resources out there that's available to the commission. Online training, those are also opportunities that come up, and we share those with the commissioners as well. And they can either be free or they're pretty cost efficient, because it's just not a just, but it's a Zoom link that we can just share that easily. And as I said, we've been doing some in-house training here too, with City Attorney's Office. So you have those as well. And for reference, this is shown at the bottom, but let me go back to this other slide, the kind of the third and fourth bullet point on training. For reference, during the last 2 years, during that budget development, the council approved $1,500 per person per year for the Planning Commission, and that totals to $10,500 per year. And we looked at the history, as I mentioned, for the last 8 years. The highest expenditure was about $3,800. That was during fiscal year 2018 to 19. And considering factors such as inflation, economic, factors, and also want to be able to provide all commissioners with the opportunities to attend the training, we felt, this number still appears to be pretty adequate for the commission as an annual budget. So it will be this amount, we'll propose every year for each of the 2 years for the Planning Commission. So With all these things that you just saw, staff is requesting that the commission approve the work plan and include the training and budget request and recommend for approval by the City Council the fiscal year 25 to 26 and 26 to 27 Planning Commission work plan, training, and budget request. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. Commissioners, any questions? Sharon, I had one question. The 10,500 is an aggregate for all commissioners, but there's no limit for one commissioner at 1,500. For example, if somebody on the dais up here would like to go to multiple trainings and their expenditure is, say, 4,000, but nobody else has used any of the funds, they are covered, correct?
Yes, that's
They're
why
not- okay.
we're proposing it this way. That's why at the bottom, that's how it was derived before, but we're saying a total of 10,500.
That's the aggregate. Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Just want
It's
to
an
make sure.
annual budget, training budget
Okay.
for the commission.
I just didn't want somebody to be capped
Yes,
at
I understand.
1,500 individually if they were interested in going to more
Yes.
trainings.
Yes. Thank you for the clarification.
I have a question. It's not about the training. It has to do about, well, maybe it has to do about the training, but it has to do about capital. And this is since the bike ped was split between Parks and Rec for education, but planning for capital. And so are we covered for that part of the bike ped that we got?
Yes.
Okay.
There have been some training opportunities that.
But how about in capital items? Because I'm sure there was some capital items. I haven't talked to Councilman Hilton, but I know there was probably some things he was eyeing for capital items for bike ped. I don't know, maybe you know of them.
Yeah, we'll have to check because Public Works is working on updating
Okay.
the CIP plan. Yeah.
Okay,
That will
great.
be forthcoming, and we can look into that further.
Thank you.
I have a question more regarding to the kind of workload we do. So we are supposed, I remember we incorporated a commission that used to name the streets, for example, and somehow I never heard anything after that regarding like the planning commissioners pick up the street names. I don't know if that was because of like the limited time we have or or somebody decided that way, but as far as I know, it was a commission that used to name the streets, for example, that got incorporated with the planning commission, and then I just never heard of anything from that previous commission, like how. If there is a new street, who is picking up the name? Because then it's not supposed to come to us instead of whatever who is picking up the names.
Yes, there's an established policy and procedure regarding the street naming, and I don't think anything has come up for a project, and Melissa can help me. Yeah, that would come to the commission, and that's why you have nothing.
But and who decides that?
So if you want to, yeah. There is an
It's just questions in general about what we do here.
For street names?
Yeah, specifically.
So the developer will suggest street names when there's a new track. The only time there are new street names are when new streets are created. So it's through a tentative map process. And the developer will propose street names based on a theme, either if there's an existing theme in the area, they'll continue that theme, or if it's an area where there's no theme established, they can establish a new theme. They suggest names that are taken to the city's street naming task force, which is a committee that consists of members from planning, engineering, police, and fire. The primary consideration for street names is public safety. So we try to ensure that the names are not the same as, definitely not the same as, but not too similar sounding to other street names in the city. We have certain criteria regarding street name length and the way streets are physically named.
But again, I'm confused because before used to be a committee that would, used to be like a commission that used to oversee that.
No, street names. Well, street names are, so for local streets, they're always named by staff. The only street names that are named by the street naming committee, which is the City Council and Planning Commission committee, the only streets they name are arterials and collectors, and they will also review proposed street name changes. So if there's an existing street and somebody wants to change the name of it, they'll review that. There have been no new arterials or collectors for probably a decade or more.
And the other thing is regarding what come to us as a project. Is that a way that everything that goes through the city, it comes to us and we vote? Which one should we discuss or not? Because I know there is. I feel sometimes like blindsided because there are major things happen in the city that there are plans for it, but then somebody decided that it's not going to come through us, and I don't know what's the criteria for that.
Oh, I see. Which applications go before you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So the zoning ordinance establishes that. The Planning Commission reviews tentative maps, architectural and site reviews that are within a planned unit development, unless the City Council has already approved design guidelines or specific plans that say that they don't have to go through that process. Conditional use permits and variances, zone changes, general plan amendments, that's what goes to the Planning Commission.
But not all of them. Those are sorted by somebody.
No, all of those categories go to the Planning Commission, but you might be talking about projects that have just gone through a staff-level architectural and site review. It's all set forth in the zoning ordinance, what level of review occurs.
I mean, all the projects that they have like a tentative map that it needs to be reviewed, like it shouldn't come to us.
Tentative maps go to
all of them.
Yes,
all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And what else besides the tentative map? Something like that's like or something that requires like a bigger like community involvement, I guess, is that doesn't come to us, like regarding like even permits. It's something that's like the public, it's the, they are the stakeholders of, that plan. Doesn't that come, all of them, does it come to us, or it's sorted out by somebody and some of them?
It's specified by the zoning ordinance what level of review each type of development application requires. So items that go to the Planning Commission are general plan amendments, zone changes, tentative maps, architectural and site reviews within a planned unit development, architectural and site reviews in on historic sites, conditional use permits, and variances. Anything outside of that, like you might see a large commercial building being constructed, if it's not in a planned unit development, it's not going to go to you. It's going to be staff level approval and then building permits.
And all of those that you mentioned, it has to come to us.
The ones, yes. Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not too much of a hassle, if there's a quick cheat sheet that can be sent out to commissioners, that would be great.
Yeah, I've got one.
Thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions? If not, I will make a motion that we accept the work plan and the request for budget.
I second.
Budget request, sorry. Finishing. Does this need a vote?
Needs a vote.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Doesn't have to be a roll call, but it's just some kind of vote.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Any nays? Abstentions? Great. Thank you, Sharon. Thanks,
Passes
Melissa.
unanimously.
Passes unanimously. Great. Thank you. All right. Informational items. 9.1, Planning Division staff approvals. Any questions there? So, Commissioner Leongard, this is where they do the ministerial, and then it comes to us here for stuff that never came to planning, but it was approved by staff. All right, I see there's no questions.
And if I can expand on that, at the bottom of the page 2, we link you to the development activity table, so you can always look at that for any other projects you want to take a look at.
And I appreciate staff changing that over the years. It used to be very cumbersome. It used to be this huge list. It was crazy. All right, thank you. Planning Division.
If we want wanted to discuss any of those items, we would then have to, at this moment, and request.
Sure, if there's any questions.
Okay, thank you.
Planning Division staff report? Sharon?
No report, but want to welcome the 2 new commissioners.
Welcome.
Thank you.
All right, 11, City Attorney report.
Okay, I have 2 quick things. One is the Assistant City Attorney sends her regards. She's ill, unfortunately. That's why I'm here. But the second, I wanted to just read something to you briefly that came out in a legal newspaper today. It's how a planning commission can get a city in real trouble. Okay? It's a story. It comes out of Los Angeles and involves a 50-unit, 6-story residential project. And it had gone to the planning director, who issued basically an approval for this. It was partly affordable housing, 50 units. That was appealed to the Planning Commission in Los Angeles. So I'm going to read now a little bit what the article says. In December 2023, Councilmember Kevin DeLeon submitted a letter to the Planning Commission essentially imploring it to ignore the mandates of the Housing Accountability Act and reject the project. The Planning Commission held 4 hearings on the project and continued each hearing for various administrative failings, such as lack of quorum, failure to provide a translator, and inability to reach consensus within the hearing time. At the final hearing, 3 of the planning commissioners stated an intent to disapprove the project and search for reasons, which the judge called, quote, a decision in search of a justification. So the planning commission ended up denying the project. The developers sued. The judge found that the city had acted in bad faith because both the staff and the city attorney had recommended that there were no legitimate grounds to deny, because, as you know, under the Housing Accountability Act, a residential project that complies with all the objective standards must be approved. So this is an example of a planning commission that bowed to political pressure from a council member, reached a decision which is going to cost the city a lot of money in terms of fines and penalties and attorney's fees. So I mentioned that as an example of how things can go wrong.
Just a question, is the
Yes.
city council later on voted yes or no on the project?
I think it's from the way the article's written, I think the planning decision was final. Because if it had gone to the council, it wouldn't really be a matter of it. The planning commission would not have been that
That's why you
important.
have good lawyers. So
Well,
we
they
don't
had
have to
good
worry
lawyers
about-
too, but they didn't stop the planning commission from yielding to political
If
pressure.
they want a reason, they will find it, so.
Anyway, that concludes my
Thank you.
report. It's kind of a sad story, but it's instructive.
Thank you, Andy. I appreciate it.
You're
If
welcome.
there's no further comments, I am going to adjourn the meeting to March 13, 2025 at 6 p.m. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I think you need to sit here as the vice chair, because I was the vice chair, and so I'm please sit next to.
Okay.
You have good people to train us.
Wherever you want.
Well, just in case.
When I walk in, I'll look for my name tag.
Oh,
And
that's-
wherever it's at, that's where I'll sit, okay?
That's always a good idea. You hungry?
I try to keep it pretty simple. Yeah, let's build a fire station. People don't understand. Even when you pay for fire station. Well, that's the problem. That's why it's not a fire station.
But now we don't have money to
Yeah, yeah.
know there's the tax increase that was on the last one. That had like a